Good evening, everybody, and everybody get hyped for the. Oh, hold on, I'm feeding back here. For the Zelda 1 multi-category tournament, JSR versus Tetraly. Should be a pretty good race tonight. JSR, if you've been following Zelda 1 for any length of time, you've definitely seen him around. He's been running this game for a long time, very talented. His 80% PB is sub 29. He's also runs the Zelda 1 Discord, so he's a pretty familiar face. Tetraly is also a pretty familiar face in the community. She's a pretty up and coming runner, has improved a lot very recently. And so this will be a pretty interesting matchup. We'll see. And obviously JSR is going to be the favorite, but they play the game because anything can happen. Something goes really wrong. Tetraly has a really good run. She could be in pretty good shape. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm pretty excited. I hope everybody else is too. And we are going to start on time. So we're just waiting for the countdown in the SRL channel. So I think we're about to get the countdown. All right, so we are about to get started in 10 seconds. And they're off. We're running, the first category we're going to run is any percent, which is just like it sounds. The runners can get any item that they need, that they feel like they need to beat the game, obviously including the required items like the candle, the bow, the silver arrows, a sword, and we're already seeing a pretty good big route divergence. JSR is going to level 3 first, and Tetraly is walking over to level 2 first. The level 3 first route tends to be faster, but it's also quite a bit riskier. Because there's a lot that can go wrong in terms of if you don't get enough bomb drops, or you'll see in a minute if Manhandla decides to do his thing. The level 2 first routes tend to be a lot more consistent. You may not go as fast, but you're also, if something goes wrong, it's not going to go as wrong. So I already see a pretty interesting difference in style between these two runners. And you see JSR going through the top route in level 3, which in that room with the keys guarantees a bomb drop. Getting through the room with the darkness pretty quickly. And on the other side, Tetraly is making her way through level 2. This room that Tetraly's in with the Gorillas is pretty important because you see she got a 1 bomb drop in there, which is going to save her quite a bit of time in a bit. You see JSR get the raft and then do an up and A, which if you're unfamiliar with these up and A categories, you'll see the runners several times in this route and in the swordless match, if we get to match 3, pausing and then going to a screen that says continue, save, retry. What that does is, what happens is if you pause the game and then you hit up and A on the second controller, Gary just put in the explanation in chat, but it allows you to essentially fake a death, which can save you some time in certain situations. And it's not allowed in every category, but it is allowed in this one. You see JSR getting through Manhandla pretty cleanly, and Tetra getting through that Dodongo, so they're both picking up their first Triforce pieces. And JSR is heading over to level 4. Well, Tetraly, I believe, is going to head up towards the north and get the white sword, which is not required in this category, but it can be very helpful. It can save you a lot of time and it can also make some of the combat, especially in level 3 and 4, a lot safer in level 5. So some of the early combat, again, it takes some time, but it can improve your consistency pretty significantly. So it's a good strategy at a race, even if Tetraly is you're a good enough player to run the level 3 first route. I mean, I run the level 3 in my personal best attempts, but I run level 2 first in races because it's just much more consistent. You see JSR coming through the so-called NSU room in level 4, Tetraly picking up her 5th heart container, which she'll need in order to get the white sword. JSR clearing out what we call the breakfast room, so-called breakfast room because it has pancakes and jelly, and I can't remember what the bubbles are, but yeah, going through that room, taking it a little carefully because it doesn't have a lot of bombs to spare. You see, Tetraly got the white sword and then did an up in A because it's a much faster way to get back to the south. Now she's going to go take on level 3. JSR coming back through level 4 after getting the ladder. You're going to see him use that ladder to do a ladder clip in that room. He went through it fast enough that I didn't really have time to explain. But what he did was he took advantage of a little glitch in the way that the game detects where you are. Normally you can only use the ladder to cross one square at a time, but he used it to cross a second square, which is the same glitch you'll see when the runners do a screen scroll. It's the same glitch that allows them to screen scroll, that allows them to do that ladder clip, and also you'll see them clip through blocks especially when they get to level 1. And so you see, JSR is doing the Gliok over there, makes quick work of him. And he picks up his second Triforce piece. Tetraly going through level 3, gets a nice fairy there, so she'll get her beam sword back. And also making pretty quick work of the that one got that. That's the problem with that room that Tetraly just left. One of those dark nets can sometimes get away from you, but thankfully she's got the white sword, so it only takes 2 sword stabs instead of 4 that it took JSR. So she gets her raft. Decides not to up an A there. It can save a couple seconds. Oh, now she's going to up an A. It can save a couple seconds. It's not entirely necessary. And then we saw JSR do another. It's debatable whether this is considered a glitch or not. The pirouette. If you enter level 1, exit, and then immediately re-enter, that door at the top of the screen opens, which will save you a key. And so John just pointed out in chat, if you leave the basement before the up and A, you get a better manhandle spawn, which you see Tetraly just got manhandle in the upper left, which makes it much more likely that she'll be able to blow him up with one bomb, as she just did, and get the bomb drop. So not the end of the world if that doesn't happen, but it's a huge time savings when it does. So Tetraly picks up her second Triforce piece. And I believe she'll now be headed over to level 4. As JSR picks up the bow and does an up and A. That up and A after the bow, it also saves a key in level 1. As you'll see, if you're familiar with the regular any percent no up and A route, you come back across the top, and the room that JSR is about to enter has a key door on the left side. You don't need a key to get through that door if up and A is allowed. So he just saved himself a key, which anytime you can save yourself a resource like that, you want to do so. JSR making pretty quick work of Aquamentus, the boss of level 1, and he picks up the Triforce. Tetraly making her way through level 4. You're potentially getting the bomb drop in the NSU room. Having as many bombs as you can, leaving the NSU room is helpful because, as you'll see in the so-called breakfast room, it's much quicker to defeat the likes and the Zols in here using bombs than it's using your sword. Tetraly also forces a bomb off of one of the Zols, so she's gonna pick up her ladder and she's got to eat bombs. So that's gonna save her some worry coming out of level 4. JSR gets a lucky bomb drop on the ground, which he's going into level 5, I believe. So he needs all the bombs he can get, which you're about to see. He's going to go pick up the 100 rupee secret in the northeast. As Tetraly makes her way past the ladder clip room. And the way she's doing it, you can see, JSR does the HUD clip. If you clip off at the top of the screen, you can actually, as you see, walk through the top, the heads-up display that shows all your life and inventory. That's a pretty tricky thing to do. You know, he makes it look pretty easy, but it's not an easy thing to do because you can. There's some obstacles that I believe mirror the top 5 rows of the regular screen, but you really kind of have to memorize where they are because it doesn't draw them, so you can't see. Yeah, Garion pointing out, Tetraly got the error key on the 2 first route, which normally is not required. It's probable that she'll skip another key somewhere later in the run. I know that she's pretty careful about key routing. She's on several occasions pointed out to me when I was getting an extra key that I didn't need when I was experimenting with a new route. So yeah, I bet she's going to skip a key later in the route. I know she didn't get the diagonal Zol key in level 3, which I think a lot of runners get on any percent. Oh, she did get that key? Oh, she got it on the way back. Because I had noticed when she was on her way through there the first time that she left one of the Zols. She must have gotten it on the way back. JSR making a pretty quick work of what we call the room of requirement, or some people call it the Olive Garden, because you get the breadstick, which is the recorder. That's a pretty difficult room because it's got a bunch of blue dark nuts, which have 8 hit points, which means it takes either 2 bombs or 8 sword slashes to deal with them, or 4 in Tetraly's case because she's got the white sword. But you tend to want to use as many bombs in there as you can because it gets rid of them a lot more quickly. The problem is it's not so easy to bomb blue dark nuts because a bomb, when you stab a blue dark nut and it's walking towards you, your sword won't do any damage. And bombs have the same directionality. A bomb is considered to be facing whichever direction you are facing when you place it. And if it just walks into, if a dark nut is walking towards the bomb, when the bomb goes off, it won't do any damage. So you've got to attempt to place bombs perpendicular to the dark nuts, which is not as easy as it looks. See Tetraly making her way through level 1 over to get the bow, and JSR making his way through the back half of level 5. Yeah, Fiskbit points out, commentator has a surprising amount of knowledge about bombs. If I did, I probably would have to, if I had a lot of knowledge about bombs, I'd have to change my nickname. So yeah, you see Tetraly doing the same trick JSR did to save a key after up and A-ing from getting the bow. JSR bombing and stabbing the dig dogger, who is the boss of level 5 and picking up his Triforce. So he's leaving level 5. Tetraly is leaving level 1. now that JSR has the recorder, he can use that to get around the world a little more quickly. He's gonna go to level 3 and then do his. He's gonna pick up the. He's gonna pick up this 100 secret in the woods. And then I believe he's going to do the world wrap, which is a pretty interesting trick if you haven't seen it before. Although a lot of the people I see in chat are Zelda 1 runners. Most of them are better than I am, so I'm sure they will not be surprised at this. But what JSR is going to do is he did a screen scroll off the edge of the map. And when he did that, it took him to the other side of the map, but one screen up. Then it took him to the screen with the ladder, the heart that you use the ladder to get to. But he came in it the opposite way, so he had to do a ladder clip to get back to the mainland. So now he's picking up his heart containers here. So he's Tetraly getting through level 5. She's going to take out 2 of those Gibdos and then get the key. The Gibdo with the key on the way back. You do not want to kill all 3, because if you do, she got 2 bomb drops from those Gibdos. So she's got a full complement of bombs. As we see JSR headed into level 2, you don't want to kill all 3 of those Gibdos, because if you do, they're going to respawn on the way back. What she did allows her to now she's only going to have to take out 1 after she gets the recorder. So now she's attempting, as I was describing before, attempting to place the bombs perpendicular to the dark nuts, and doing a pretty nice job of it. A couple of them turned around right after she placed the bomb, which they tend to do. Fortunately, she's got the white sword, so any that she misses with her bombs, she can take out with the white sword, which is important because I believe she's going right to level 7 after level 5. And the thing you have to remember about level 7 is it requires 7 bombs. So it's pretty tough to go straight from level 5 to level 7, because level 5 tends to take a lot of bombs, and level 7 also tends to take a lot of bombs. You end up with a shortage there. Me going on about bombs. JSR, speaking of which, getting a ton of drops from the Gorias in level 2. And then the Dodongo in level 2 got pretty uppity on him, just as it did to Tetraly when she was in there. Tetraly trying to get bombs from the Dodongos in level 5, which can get pretty annoying because they just go wherever they feel like going. What she's doing, and what you saw them both do in level 2, is if you drop 1 bomb, the Dodongo will eat it. If you drop another one, and it explodes before he gets moving again, then he'll freeze, and if you stab him with the sword, then you automatically get a bomb drop. So you see her getting all the bombs she can here before she takes on the back half of level 5. We see JSR doing his shopping. He is going to pick up the meat, and that meat shop that he just got, it's cheaper than, it's usually cost 100 rupees, but at that shop it's only 60. And then he'll pick up the arrows here, which are the only items you have to buy after you get the candle. So that shopping area, often referred to as the Westlake Mall, because it's west of the lake and it's where you buy all your stuff. And then we see JSR head off to level 7.
Not to startle you, but just wanted to let you know you had a little company.
Oh, hey.
This is Almighty Babino. I'm just filling in a little bit till Fred can join us. Oh, so Garen's already got an update on screen.
Oh, sweet. Hey, Almighty Babino. Welcome to commentary. Have you been watching the race? Yeah,
I've been watching it. Really enjoying both separate strategies. Tetra is closer to the strategy I use, so I've been watching her a little more closely, but I watch JSR all the time too, so I'm familiar with his route.
Yeah, I watch both of these runners pretty frequently as well, which is why I was pumped that I get to commentate this race. But yeah, they're both doing very different strategies. I've been saying at the beginning, JSR, as Fiskbit pointed out, is having a pretty good run. JSR's running sort of the faster route if everything goes well. And it looks like it is going pretty well for him. Tetraly's running more consistent route, so if things don't go well for her, then she's not going to get into as much trouble.
Yeah, that's the major difference between these two. Is Tetra has the safe, I can consistently finish in X amount of time route. JSR has, I'm going to blaze through this, but if something goes wrong, man, it's going to be a little bit more scrambling to go. So definitely like the two separate strategies. So far, it looks like JSR has got everything going for him, but we still got a lot of race left. We're getting close.
Yeah, exactly. And JSR, after he finishes level 7, is going to head into level 6, where things tend to get real. Especially with, well, he'll have the magical sword by then, but the late game is the great equalizer.
Yeah, and Wizrobes can always decide that this is just not your run tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you also get pretty dependent on drop luck, especially in level 6 and level 9 to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a mirror of what happened when I faced Tetra. Is I had a super safe strat, and I caught up, but she was on that fast blazing strat, and less went wrong for her than me. So definitely can flip either way. So it's definitely.
Yeah, I was watching that race. It's when sometimes when one of the runners has a good run, there's just nothing you can do about it. I haven't checked where JSR is according to his splits, but I haven't checked where Tetraly is according to her splits either. They actually both look like they're having pretty good runs. Just, as we pointed out, the route JSR is running is a little faster, so all things being equal.
Yeah, I didn't have their splits up either because I forgot to get that ready. JSR Tetra's running pretty close to her time, and JSR is actually a little under his PB pace.
Oh yeah, he is. Looks like he's about a second ahead. It looks like he was about 15 seconds ahead, leaving level 2. That's pretty blistering. I know he runs. I mean, most people run no up A a lot more than up A, so he hasn't had quite the same, or neither of them has had quite the same level of exposure to this category. So you see some interesting strats here in terms of people having to adjust to being able to use up A.
Yeah, it's weird. You wouldn't think such a little change, like just being able to exit out and reset where you are, could change routes so much, but it absolutely can make a huge difference. In the qualifiers, I just used my no up A route because I hadn't looked at any percent routes, and then when I started trying to figure out the any percent, it was so much different than I was expecting, all just based off of being able to do that fake death.
Yeah, you see JSR running through level 6. Tetraly is actually making pretty quick work of level 7. This is pretty clean. JSR went through the belfry in level 6 pretty quick. And then Tetraly level 7 is annoying because you take a lot of damage real quick. Tetraly not having that problem, gets through with only down 2.5 hearts. See, JSR is going through the magical breakfast rooms. Gets out his arrows to take out the lights in there. Now, Tetraly exits level 7. We're gonna now see her head over to level 6, I believe. So she's a little bit behind there. Oh no, she's gonna go do the world wrap. Oh, I think we might be about to see the recorder from her. That's a nifty glitch. As JSR takes out the Goma on level 6 and picks up that Triforce.
And this is where the routes, once she does this, gets these hearts and grabs her sword, this is where the routes converge. So it starts to show you just a little bit how much lead JSR has, which isn't as much as you kind of would expect, like looking at PBs and things like that. He's about one whole dungeon ahead, which isn't nearly as much as I was kind of expecting. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably about 2 minutes. Yeah, here Tetraly is doing the recorder, which is a trick that was discovered pretty recently, given that this game came out 30 years ago. What you do is, normally when you blow the whistle, that little tornado that picks you up takes you to a certain level based on which Triforces you've picked up and when you last use it. Yeah, Garion says it was discovered during the 2018 tournament, which sounds about right to me. It was discovered right around the time I started running Zelda 1, which was during the 2018 tournament. But if you clip into the lake and then blow the whistle, when the tornado drops you off, it'll drop you off one screen up and one screen left of where it would have otherwise dropped you off. JSR making very quick work of the dark nuts in these so-called blue lagoons over here.
That's about as fast as you can clear those without using bombs. That was pretty clean.
Yeah, that was bonkers. And Tetraly making similarly pretty quick work of that belfry. He took a couple bops from the fireballs, but not too bad. But so yeah, Tetraly saves a good. She figured out on these two first routes you can save a pretty good chunk of time by doing the recorder to get the magical sword instead of walking all the way across or whistling and then shopping the way JSR did. It doesn't really help on a 3 first route, but it helps a lot on 2 first.
That's what's been impressing me the most about Tetraly is seeing how much understanding she has for little nuances in routes. Like when I was watching her practice swordless, she found somewhere that you could grab a key so you don't need to clear a difficult room in one of the dungeons, and just watching her realize like which rooms you do need to clear and don't. Like she seems to have a really great grasp on the nuances of the route.
Yeah, exactly, and coming up with new routes, which is interesting because she's running a lot of routes that some of the other people who are super into routing aren't running. Like she runs a lot of 2 first, so it's been a lot of fun to watch her come up with the sort of advanced strats for the 2 first routes. We see JSR heading into level 9.
Tetra had a really clean magical breakfast there and is just about to clear up.
There was the key she skipped. JSR, I believe, got that key in the room with the virus towards the end of 6 that Tetraly skipped. So she's gonna finish up level 6. Yeah, JSR, as Redbird points out, JSR has 4 keys. He only needs 3 at this point.
And that's another one of those small differences that you don't think of, that it's probably something he picked up in his used to picking up from doing no up A that he just didn't need in.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what happened. I think most of us who've tried this route have done it.
I know for a fact I clear out way too many key rooms in level 3, so I know I almost always have too many keys when I.
Yeah, JSR gets the clean Petra 1 skip, stabs the old man a couple times, which he just forced a bomb off of one of the whiz robes, which gives him some bombs to use for combat, which can speed things up in level 9, but also keep it a lot safer, especially in that reverse C with the silver arrows. Tetraly making her way into the blue lagoons. This is a really tricky part of the game. These blue lagoons, because there's a lot of blue dark nets. There's a second room of them, and there's also the fireballs that you got to deal with. So it's a lot to keep going. They call it the blue lagoon because it's not only a lot for a human to keep track of, but it's too much for the game to keep track of. And before you take out any of the dark nets, the game tends to lag. She gets through Blue Lagoon 1 pretty safely. We see JSR getting the that perfect pattern in the silver arrows room. Ooh, taking a red beam though. Hate to see that. He had that. There's a pattern in the silver arrows room where the three blue Wizrobes all come into the bottom left corner and line up to get bombed, and he got that pattern, but then he took a red beam trying to take out the last red Wizrobe, which does 4 hearts of damage. And Tetraly making pretty quick work of Blue Lagoon too. That was clean. JSR also missed the reverse clip, so that cost him a few seconds. But makes his way out of the Silver Arrows room. So he's into the back half of 9 as Tetraly goes in to deal with the 4-headed Gleeok.
And Patra's just not agreeing with JSR. He has to clear some of those orbiting ones to be able to get through.
Yeah, that Patra was a bit of a jerk. Tetraly gets a nice fairy drop from the Gleeok. Save her a little bit of refill time. As JSR heads into the trap room, which is the last combat room other than the Patra right before Ganon. So he's wrapping up here. I don't think he's on he's definitely not on 29 pace anymore, but sub 30 is probably a little tight. Not out of the question.
And he's getting right to the end, right as Tetra's about to start. So if he has a clean Patra and a clean Ganon, he's got it. But that's never something to be taken for granted.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, plenty of really good runners have died to Ganon with plenty of hearts. You lose him, he runs into you a couple times. I mean, he can survive one Ganon hug, but he can't survive 2.
So JSR started off.
And JSR gets this to unlock.
Very nice. Let's get some GGs. JSR is going to bring this one in just a couple moments, unless he decides to run into the fire about 20 times.
Yeah, which I've seen people run into it once. Yeah, get your GGs out. JSR finishes. He does get the sub 30. Finishes in first place with a time of 29:58. So we'll see Tetra coming around through this spiral room with the likes. She does not get the so-called FU beam. She also gets the clean Patra 1 skip. So now she'll head into the next room with still having beams.
Yeah, that's definitely important for these combat rooms, because Wizrobes just sometimes decide that it's not your...
She's leaving the next room with beams. That's impressive.
That was really nice.
And she's taken it pretty safely. I suspect she knows that JSR is done already. So, I mean, I'm sure she'll finish the race, but she's taking it pretty safely in here. And I didn't see her do it, but I know she picked up a potion earlier because she'll probably use it here because level 9, getting through level 9 without a potion is no easy trick.
Especially when Patra just decides to hunt you down like that.
Yeah, Patra 2 is being a problem tonight.
And she's
nice fairy, though.
Yeah, definitely like the fairy, and she clears him out so she won't have to fight him again on the way back.
Yeah, that's nice, because it's pretty easy to get. I mean, we saw what happened to JSR. Tetraly gets the pattern, too.
That's nice right there.
She's going to decide the discretion is the better part of Valor and use her potion there, which is definitely the right play. Because this is one of the worst places to die in the entire run. And the combat does not get any easier from here on out.
Yeah, that was definitely a close one, but with that potion now, should be able to finish this in a really nice. And the reverse clip, excellent.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm not sure where she is in terms of her splits, but this will probably be her time will probably end up being around 35 minutes, which is quite good, especially for 2 firsts.
It looks like she literally just passed her PB as we were talking. It looks like it's a 33:33, but 35 minute, 36 minute run is nothing.
Yeah, I'd take a 35 in a race any day. She makes quick work of the trap room too, so she's pretty much done with her combat as well. She'll have to take out the third Patra and Ganon, but definitely on the home stretch here.
And if things get real dicey, she still has that blue potion.
Yeah, I mean, other than Patra 2, she's having a super clean level 9.
Oh, nice.
And we got the black and white Patra 3. I've never actually gotten that to work. GG to her for putting in the swag.
This is what Zelda looked like in the 70s.
This is what it looked. I played this in the 80s and it looked like this. I actually did play this game on a black and white TV back in the day. Tetraly not getting the stun lock, but she had a perfectly clean Ganon fight as well. Get your GGs out. Tetraly finishes with a time of 35:55, which is actually 40 seconds faster than her previous race PB. So everyone get your GGs out for her.
Yeah, that was a great race run. That's something I would take in a race just about every single time.
Yeah, that was a clean run. So yeah, GG to both players, and we will very shortly be moving on to the second race, which I believe they're going to be running 100% next.
100% should be fun because that's where I think Tetra is going to do best. She just did it for a marathon, and so I feel like that might be where she's most comfortable.
Yeah, that's a pretty good category for her. It's a good category for JSR as well, which we can talk about a bit about the routes before the race gets started. I mean, I run 100% probably more than anybody else is running it right now. I'm actually getting kind of sick of it, but there's a couple of different routes that people run. JSR actually has a route named for him, which he doesn't run anymore. That is a 3 first route that is a little bit safer. The tricky thing in 100%, or it's actually about 93%, because the rule in 100% is that you need all of the items that are not considered consumable, meaning you have to get all the heart containers, you have to get the magical sword, you have to get the top level item for everything. You don't technically have to get the blue candle because you need the red candle, but the blue candle is required in order to get enough rupees to buy both bomb upgrades, which you also need. So you see them picking up a lot more stuff. One of the interesting items that they don't need is a magical shield, because since they like to eat it, it's considered consumable. but there's a bunch of different routes that people run. JSR has a route named for him, which is a 3-first route that's a little safer than the world record route. There's also there's a couple of 2-first routes. I know Tetraly's done some innovation on what used to be the standard 2-first route, so we'll see whether she goes 2-first or 3-first in this one. But yeah, JSR has put in a ton of time on 100%. Tetraly has learned it recently, but has been pretty rapidly improving. She's good at this category, so um, let's see what happens.
I believe we're going to be going right into it. I didn't actually get a chance to get into the race room, so not sure if they're in there.
Yeah, the runners are readying up right now. Tetraly actually did just start ready. All right. Yeah, Garion just released the gatekeep, so we're going to start in 10 seconds, although it'll probably be closer to 20 before you see it on the stream. And here we go. This is the last time we'll see them getting. Well, this is the last time we'll see them getting the wood sword tonight. Because if it goes to race 3, that one's swordless.
Hopefully swordless. About 10% of my swordless runs still start in that sword cave because it's just hard to get rid of that muscle.
Yeah, it really is. All right, both of them are going to go start in level 3. Yeah, I believe. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The route divergence isn't. The route divergence doesn't happen until a good bit later, but I believe JSR. I know in the qualifiers, JSR was running the world record route for this. I mean, Tetraly, if she's going 3-first, she's probably running the JSR route. So we'll point out those differences as they come up. JSR gets the early bomb. Tetraly does not, but makes pretty quick work of those dark nuts. Both runners running the so-called bottom route. JSR does not get any bomb drops in the second Darknet room. Tetraly does get a bomb drop, and she actually got one lucky bomb and one force bomb. JSR picking up the raft, but he's only got one bomb, so that's going to be pretty narrow for him.
This is also a good room to realize the other difference between last race and this race is up A is not allowed in our 100% races, so they are making the trek back instead of warping back to 3 by simulating.
Yeah, exactly. And see JSR. Whoops, JSR tried to get those 2 dark nuts with one bomb, but they both decided to walk the wrong way on him. He does get a force 5 rupee though, which I'm sure he was looking for. Money is pretty tight on the 100% route because, as I mentioned, you need to buy both bomb upgrades. It's also pretty far out of the way to get the cheap meat that I pointed out in the last race. So they will need to spend 100 rupees on the more expensive one. They're both headed out. Both got through Manhandla fairly easily, but JSR did not get the bomb drop from Manhandla. So again, he's running short of bombs. They both leave level 3 at about the same time.
Yeah, nice clean 3. JSR had a little bit of bomb trouble, but he's got the tiny bit of extra money that he might not have to force down the line. So we'll see how close.
And JSR took an intentional bop from one of the Octoroks because he didn't know what his count was after getting the clean kill on Manhandla. It could be anywhere between 5 and 9. In a PB attempt, you can live with that. In a race, you don't want to mess with it. You see him trying to take out a few extra keys to increase his count. He's going to force a bomb off of the Zols very shortly. Both runners having a little bit of trouble in that diagonal room with the see, Tetraly got her bomb for us. JSR did not. I wonder if he did that on purpose or if he miscounted, but he got a 5 rupee in there. So I'm not entirely sure what he's going to do here. You need 3 bombs to get through the back half of level 4. So this is actually going to put Tetraly pretty significantly in the lead. She has a perfect NSU room. And now she'll head into the breakfast room where she forces a bomb.
Yeah, that's a huge concern right now. I'm trying to think of how that's even gonna get me.
Yeah, we'll see what he does. He picks up his ladder. Tetraly also picks up the ladder. Trying to kill all the keys there. You see she's being super careful with the keys. It's vital if you're not a super expert at this game. JSR takes a death. So Garion sort of gave a hint as to what JSR did. JSR took an intentional death, which in a PB attempt is in a PB attempt that would be a disqualifier. In a race, the rule is if you die in a no up A category, you have to return to the. If you die in a dungeon, you have to return to. If you die in the overworld, you have to immediately return to the screen where you died. If you die in a dungeon, you only have to return. You have to return to the room where you died at some point before the end of the run. So JSR died in a room that he's going to have to go through to get to Gliok at some point before the end of the run anyway. And so what that does is it lets him leave level 4, which he couldn't have finished without bombs anyway, and then he's going to come back through level 4 later in the run after he's got some more power. So that's an interesting strategy by him.
Tetra had a really nice Gliok fight and is leaving level 4 now, so she just needs to stay on her route and try to make as little as possible go wrong, because Zelda never lets anything go perfect, but she's got a nice lead. She just got to protect.
Yeah, she's in good shape here. So now you'll see her. She's going to screen scroll a couple times, and she's going to go over and do the world wrap. As we see JSR entering level 2, which is where Tetraly is going to go after she does the world wrap. JSR went essentially the same way.
Yeah, so at first glance, it looks like JSR is ahead because he entered 2 first, but obviously lacking that Triforce he needs to actually get into 9 is going to be kind of
Yeah, he's going to have to come back into level 4 later. I suspect when he goes that way, he's going to have the magical sword. So Gliok is going to go down pretty quick, but it still takes time to go in, get the Triforce, and come out. You see JSR now entering the room with a blue boomerang. This is one of the most annoying rooms on the 100% run. It's especially challenging if you go 2 first. You have to do that room on 3 hearts. There's 3 blue gorillas which have 5 hit points apiece, and they're throwing boomerangs all over the place. Plus, you have to contend with the fireballs. Not so easy to do on 3 hearts. JSR's got 6 hearts, makes pretty quick work of it.
Yeah, that room's the entire reason I don't do 2 first on 100%, even though I do 2 first in any percent, because I can't deal with those gorillas.
Yeah, I'll do it in a race, but I've also spent so much time practicing that room in particular that I can get away with it. It's not something I would recommend to somebody learning 100% for the first time. It's actually easier to run. It's actually easier for a lot of people to do 3 first. I see JSR picking up the Triforce in level 2. Tetraly getting her bomb drops off of the gorillas in there. Having 8 bombs makes that blue boomerang room much easier. Yeah, as Garion pointed out, root slugs came up with a 1/1 route that is somewhat less. It avoids both the 3/1 problem of having to deal with level 4 hearts, and also not having to deal with the blue boomerang room underpowered. I actually haven't tried that route yet. I need to run it one of these nights because it sounds pretty interesting.
I was just about to say that. I'm going to have to look that up later because that sounds like exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, there is a bomb luck component there because you need to get a bomb on the way into level 1 in order to save a good chunk of time, but it's nothing compared to some of the combat challenges you have to deal with in the 2 and the 3/1 routes.
Something tells me you shouldn't be running routes that rely on bomb luck.
Yeah, you'd think I learned my lesson one of these weeks. All right, JSR is headed up to the northeast to get the letter, which, even if you're not getting a potion, you have to get the letter in this category. And he's going to get up and head up and get the 100 secret in the northeast as Tetraly picks up the level 2 Triforce.
Yeah, leaving level 2 with with full bombs, 58 rupees, not bad.
Well, she actually is going to need she's actually in money trouble. She's going to need 2 rupees in order to pick up the candle over here. So I suspect she's going to farm. Or she can get this. There's a secret over here.
The 10 secret.
Yeah, there's a 10 secret there. You learn something every day. So she's going to buy the candle southeast of 2. Here's where the route divergence starts to happen. JSR is going to buy the candle where you buy it on the world record any percent of no up A route. And he's going to go straight into level 5. Tetraly's going to buy it here, and then she's going to go pick up a couple of things along the coast, and then head up to level 5. So yeah, JSR is on the so-called world record route, and Tetraly is on the so-called JSR route, which is ironic if you think about it.
Not confusing at all either.
Oh no, definitely not. The world record route is a bit faster. It's I'm not exactly sure how much faster. It's definitely faster though. It does involve some risk in terms of there's a couple places where there's more money pressure, and we see JSR bombing the old man to increase his count. I think he took an accidental bop. And he would like to get his count up towards 8 or 9 to try to force in the recorder room.
I like this grabbing the extra hearts and money down south before heading to 5. I like the safety of having that extra health and knowing that you get that money out of the way.
Yeah, unrelated pants pointing out in chat. Just fake flipper referring to a glitch from A Link to the Past, which unfortunately doesn't work in this game. It'd be cool if it did.
Man, being able to hover step might be better. You never need the ladder; just walk across the.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. That would be a game changer. Tetraly taking a bop from the what are those called?
P-hat?
Yeah, the P-hats, the annoying jerks that fly all over the place.
That's their technical name.
Yeah, taking a bop from them, which is probably good for her because it's now at least she knows what her count is, which knowing your count, it doesn't matter what your count is. It matters in going into level 5. It matters that you know what it is. You can always, I think there's 8 keys in the room before the bomb upgrade. So you can always get your count up to 8 or 9 before you take on the recorder room so that you can force a bomb in there. But you have to know what your count is in order for that to work.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's all knowing what it is. That way you can kill as many keys as you need, because you don't want to go over and not get those extra bombs, because you're going to have 12, but sometimes you want to be able to leave with a healthy amount too. So definitely good to set it to 0 if you're not sure. Go in, clear as many keys as you need and take on that room as quick as.
Yeah, because they're going to head over to level 1 after this, where you need a couple bombs, and you can force in there, and both runners are probably going to try, but it's not a sure thing. And then you're going to level 6, where the more bombs you have, the faster you can clear it out. So JSR picks up the Triforce in 5, as Tetraly makes her way into 5. And it's a little hard to tell who's ahead at this point, because A, because of the route divergence, and B, because JSR is going to have to go back into level 4. I would imagine he's catching up just based on how cleanly he's playing. But yeah, it's hard to tell who's ahead right now.
I think if Tetra can get the rest of this dungeon done before JSR can get past Gliok, then she'll still be in the lead because she's got a little bit that southern item pickup done, but it's definitely a lot closer than I was thinking before.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, JSR is headed back into level 4, which he did not head into level 4 with the magical sword, so he's still going to have to stab Gliok 16 times, but he's got plenty of hearts, so there's no real danger of him taking a death. And he's also got plenty of bombs. See Tetraly trying to get the Dark Nuts to group up so she can do maximum damage with her bombs. And they are not cooperating. We got 2 with that one. And she's going to sort a few of the Dark Nuts down, which makes sense because in a PB attempt, you clear this room out as fast as possible. In a race, you don't risk leaving without bombs.
JSR finally getting to clear Gliok out and get to that Triforce. So this is a lot closer than I expected. I thought Tetra was a good chunk ahead. So we're back to a nice close.
Yep, yeah, you see him leaving level 4, and Tetra now taking on the back half of level 5. And she's getting a little trouble from the Dark Nuts trying to leave this diamond room. Sometimes if you're lucky, they'll stay out of your way and you can just walk right past them, but no such luck here. Oh, and Tetraly's trying to pick up the so-called yoink bomb. If you're lucky, you can stab the Gibdos in that room and use the invincibility frames to pick up the bomb without having to kill them. But she was not lucky there.
JSR is starting 1 now as Tetra is getting right towards the end of 5. So definitely these different routes are making it, like you said, it makes it hard to tell who's ahead here too. So definitely going to be watching both for any I feel like it's going to come down to whoever makes a mistake.
Yeah, whoever either makes a mistake or gets bad RNG. If you don't get bomb drops in level 6, bad things can happen. If level 8, if the Dark Nuts and the Blue Lagoons get uppity, or if Blue Goma doesn't cooperate, level 8 is a potential huge time sink.
Yeah, and like we were saying about 6 last race, it's even more so this race because there's another extra room you have to clear to be able to go get the magic wand up there. So that's even more Wizrobes that can decide to mess with your day.
Yeah, plus getting the wand gives you a very much worse spawn in the second magical breakfast room. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Tetraly, whistling over to 4, so that she can head towards level 1 as JSR heads towards the back half of level 1. we're going to see the roots converge. I believe the roots converge entering level 8. Because after level 6, JSR is going to... after level 6, JSR is going to go pick up his stuff from the South Coast. He's going to use the power bracelet to hop down there, whereas Tetraly's already going to have picked it up, so she'll just whistle to 2 and go to 8 like you do in any percent.
And the two pass each other in the night as Tetra starts one and JSR leaves.
Yeah, you get a high five there. Oh yeah, Garion pointed out there's also there's a difference in the meat. On the JSR route, you can actually get the meat either before or after 8, depending on whether you can afford it. It's a little quicker to get it before, but it's easy to not have enough money. Tetra's actually in really good financial shape, so I don't think she's going to have that issue.
Yeah, the 1x8 is more expensive than we get in the last route. It's 100, I think at that one.
Yeah, it's 100. So you need 180 rupees leaving level 1. Theoretically, you can pick up a few in 6 if you have to. Yeah, entrance to level 7 is definitely past convergence. JSR gets a magical sword, and then he's going to head over to level 6. And he's in a little bit of bomb trouble. Bombs aren't... You only actually need one bomb to get through level 6, but you can save yourself a ton of time and... you can save yourself a ton of time and life if you have bombs to get through the magical breakfast rooms. He gets a bomb drop.
The game heard you worrying about it and decided to alleviate that stress.
But everybody gets bombs when I'm watching. I just don't get them when I'm playing. As we see the magical breakfast room, JSR actually not using bombs in there. That's kind of surprising. I usually you drop a bomb or two up in the middle, which will do some damage to the likes and the blue whiz robes. But he chose not to do that and still managed to clear out the room pretty quick. Essentially exits level 1. JSR now headed into the previously mentioned wand room. Again, not using bombs and clearing out that room magnificently. That was textbook combat right there.
That might have actually been faster than using bombs for most people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was definitely faster than me using bombs. I don't know that JSR could have done much better with bombs either.
Yeah, maybe the bomb trouble in 4 has got him saying, I'm not using a bomb unless it's absolutely necessary.
You can't blame him. Oh, Tetraly was actually picking up extra money. She's going to buy a potion here. Which is a good safety strat, because you pick up the red ring in level 9, but getting the red ring is not trivial. And also, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in level 8. So definitely a smart move by her, getting that potion.
Yeah, and because you have to grab all the overworld hearts, you can't grab the free potion that you normally do as a race safety in other categories. So saving that couple of rupees up to grab a one-use potion to be able to get her to the red rings, definitely a good plan.
Exactly, and she, since she has the letter, if she gets into serious trouble in 9, she can also buy, there's a potion shop on the screen west of level 9. So if she gets into real trouble at the end of the game, she can always top off her potion, because you tend to have, on the JSR route, you tend to have some extra money after level 8. And JSR picking up the Triforce to 6 as Tetraly gets a magical sword.
So this is going to be how quick can JSR do all the retrieving at the bottom of the world, while how quick can Tetra clear levels.
Yeah, exactly. And JSR is level 6 with Masterful. It's kind of hard to compete with that, but she's definitely going to try. She gets a nice bomb drop on the way in. JSR we see using the power bracelet to get from level 6 back to the south coast. He'll pick up that heart container and the 100 secret over there. Tetraly actually making use of the blue boomerang to clear out the keys in there. You don't see that a lot because of the menuing, but she was already using it anyway. So that's a good strat.
Yeah, the couple of seconds you save from using it to kill the keys usually isn't worth the screen, but like you said, she used it to safely get through the graveyard, so it was already there and just...
She also used it to stun the Armos that was sitting on top of the power bracelet. Which, in a lot of runners will drop bombs there, but in a race, every bomb is precious. Oh, interesting pause strat by Tetraly. In that room, if the red wizrobes spawn in the middle of the room, you can walk up along the left side and along the top of the room and get the and get through there without getting beamed. But if one of them spawns along the edge of the room, you can't get to the top of the room without getting beamed. So she used some pause strats to see who was where before she made a run for it.
Tetra cleared that wand room really fast without bombs too, like maybe only a second or two slower than JSR did. So that was really...
Yeah, that was pretty nice. JSR getting the worst item in the entire game, the book. It actually makes the wand worse.
It's amazing. By description, it sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want their wand to also shoot fire?
Well, I can imagine it being nice in a casual run. Like if you're not trying to go as fast as you possibly can. You also don't actually use the wand in this. If Tetraly pulls out the win here and we go to swordless, then you'll see a lot of wand usage.
Yeah, that's where the wand becomes the all-star. Yeah.
And I know in randomizer, Fred, who was, I believe, supposed to be on commentary. I think he got caught up with some real life issues. Fred wrote the randomizer, and he did some stuff to make the book actually very useful if you have certain flags enabled. My favorite flag, for obvious reasons, causes the bomb, instead of shooting fire, to cause a bomb explosion. So that's all sorts of hilarity right there. Yeah, JSR, as Laugo points out, gets the one cycle on the Blue Goma. He made it look easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, you miss one of those shots and don't shoot as fast as you possibly can, then you're waiting an entire extra cycle. So you're right. He made it look easy, but it is.
Yeah, as Garion points out, Tetraly also wrote a randomizer for Zelda 1, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of similar in concept to the Link to the Past randomizer, where it doesn't actually change the map. It just changes where all the items are. So you can get certain items can be floor drops in a level where you might get a bomb on the floor. Instead, you could get the raft. So that's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, hasn't taken the world by storm, but everybody should give it a chance because it's a lot of fun to play, especially if you mostly run the vanilla game. Tetraly buying the meat north of level 8. She's about to enter level 8. JSR is about to leave level 8.
So yeah, this is where we can finally tell JSR is a little ahead of Tetra. He's about a level 8 ahead of her, but definitely still a lot closer than some predictions would be. So I'm glad we got another clue.
Tetraly getting the force bomb from the manhandler there. She may elect to use some bombs in the Blue Lagoons. Yeah, based on how long I think level 8 takes in 100%, JSR is probably about 3 minutes ahead right now. And I believe the routes have converged, so there's not going to be any more differences from that. Ooh, JSR misses a screen scroll. You don't see that too often from him. He's going to go get the Darkwoods, the Deadwoods 100, and then enter level 7. Which level 7 is much easier in 100% than any percent because you have the magical sword, so you can actually take out some of the gorillas if they're getting in your way. Whereas in any percent, you don't try that because you have the wood sword and they have too many hit points.
Yeah, it's one of the only dungeons that's easier in this mode. Like every other dungeon, you're doing it at a weird point, so you either don't have the resources you're used to or just don't have resources at all. Level 7, it's just cruise through, go buy bombs, so you have 16 bombs for the whole dungeon, and yeah, kill everything with your super.
Yeah, you actually have enough bombs after you buy this bomb upgrade to finish the game, even if you don't get a single other drop. It helps if you get more drops because you have more for combat, but it's not required. Tetraly got the left walking Goma, almost got the one cycle. I think she got 2 hits. Yeah, she got 2 hits on it the first time, so she gets the 2 cycle. Takes that room out again. That blue Goma is not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, how did we not mention the fireballs last time either? On top of trying to make sure you get the hits in, you're dodging fireball.
That blue Goma is my least favorite part of this entire run, the 100% run.
It just looks at you and it's like, oh, you have almost all the hearts and all the upgrades in the game. I don't care.
I mean, it's only a problem if we're trying to do it fast.
JSR has his flamethrower upgrade,
which he'll never use. Tetraly's gonna take out the 4-headed Gleeok here to finish up level 8. There's another interesting muscle memory thing that happens. A lot of runners, when they're not running 100%, don't pick up the heart container after they kill Gleeok, and I've seen a couple of any percent runners have a real problem with 100% where they forget to pick that one up and either have to reset or run back in and get it if it's a race. But neither runner had that problem this time.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the muscle memory things. It makes the splits fun because there's fun splits for most people in 100% where it's either grab heart after Gleeok or don't forget book or turn left. Just little reminders that you don't need on normal things that aren't actual checkpoints.
Yeah, or get the red candle. It takes him, when I run any percent, I have to remember not to get the red candle. As Laugo points out, Tetraly bombed the Triforce in level 8.
That's how you set the RNG. You tell the game who's boss, you blow up the Triforce, and let it know that you're not messing around.
Yeah, right? It could be a sign of frustration, but she's having a pretty good run, so I don't think that's a real issue. Bombing the entrance to level 7, too. Or just bragging about her bomb drops.
That very well could, because like you pointed out, you're going to buy this bomb upgrade. You don't need any more, so it might just be, hey, look at the 10 bombs I had before I got to...
Oh, she just took out one of the Dodongos. All right, JSR getting a little in trouble with those rocks on the way into level 9, but manages to get through without taking any damage. Yeah, Tetraly is just messing around at this point. That was not very nice to the old man. As JSR comes into level 9, armed to the teeth, he's about to pick up the red ring and enter tank mode.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. If you watch JSR run any percent, watching him do 9 with full upgrades is insane because level 9's already usually a breeze on his.
I mean, as much as it is a breeze for anybody, I've seen some bad stuff happen to even the best runners in level 9. Just it's when it goes bad, it goes really bad. So yeah, if you're used to watching any percent, normally you go up from Patra 1, but here you go down and then have to deal with this extra Patra, and then go up a couple of rooms. It takes one bop from that Patra. It's possible to do that Patra without taking any damage, but it's hard. I saw Redbird Brad do it in the race last night. Nice clip into the red ring room. Both runners getting red items. Tetraly getting the candle, JSR getting the ring. And yeah, he's got the red ring causes you to take a quarter of the amount of damage you normally take. So he now has the equivalent of 56 hearts. It's going to be pretty hard for him to die at this point.
I like the additional route to get red ring in 9 because it technically doesn't add any combat, just adds avoiding things.
Yeah, but those are two of the most annoying avoiding things rooms in the entire game. See JSR going through the next room, which with a much different spawn than you get in any percent. That spawn is pretty annoying. Oh, Tetraly's using the wand in the reverse C in level 7. She's having some fun with us at this point.
She heard us talking trash about the wand, so she's deciding to teach us how it actually works now.
Probably did. But it's always fun when the runners try to give us a good show. JSR having some trouble with the... Oh, no, he's not. He's, I think the Wizrobe just didn't spawn in exactly the spot he was expecting it to. He's going to go through the reverse C and get his silver arrow. And as Tetraly gets her Triforce in 7, so she'll head up and join him in level 9.
It's fun. Tetra's doing some fun stuff, like having a good time, and she's not far off of her normal run. So even with doing some goofs and having some fun, still putting in a really good run.
Yeah, I was chatting with her a few days ago when she was going to face JSR, and it's like, what do you do when you're facing somebody who is just one of the top runners in the game, and you're not one of the top runners in the game? It's just like, play your game, do the best you can. I mean, you're really playing against yourself to a certain extent here, because we're all just, we're in this because we're all trying to get better at the game, and they're both putting on a good show. So it's great to see. It's great to see when both runners are really on their game.
Yeah, it can definitely be intimidating when you're running a route named after the person you're racing against. So I can definitely see. I like that mindset she had. It's the same thing I did when I faced her, because she's a lot better than me, and one of the people I watched to start running this game. I was just like, I'm gonna go out there and have fun, and she's going out there and have.
Yeah, and I watched that one. You both put on a pretty good show, so it was good to see. JSR, we get to see use the fast Patra strats. If you have a lot of health, which when you have the red ring, you almost always do have a lot of health, you can basically walk into the middle of that Patra and start swinging your sword, get rid of him much faster than when you're trying to conserve your health at any percent. JSR gets the stun lock on Ganon, so everyone get your GGs out. JSR finishes with a time of 38 minutes and 29 seconds. So he will be moving on to face Redbird Grad in the next round.
Oh man, that's already sounding good.
Yeah, that is going to be a heck of a match. But now that JSR is done, we'll see if we can get him in here for some interviewing.
And while we're waiting, Tetra just snagged the red ring, so her 9 is in good shape. So
yeah, and she's got 15 and a half hearts, so she is going to have an even harder trouble dying than JSR did.
Plus, I think she still has that backup potion.
Yeah, I believe she does. I heard JSR come in, or I heard somebody come into Discord. I'm assuming it's JSR. JSR, are you here?
JSR, are you here?
GG.
Thank you.
I don't know if you were watching. You both put on a pretty clean run in both races.
I didn't actually watch the restream. Sorry, I had to mute the. I just turned the restream on for the first time. I didn't actually have the restream up. That's just kind of how I race. Usually, I like to kind of stay blind, so I don't know where my opponent is. That way, I just assume you got to go as fast as you can and just don't think about, oh, well, I ran out of bombs in 4, or the manhandler kind of, gave me the business in both runs. I was able to recover at any percent, but just not quite able to in this one.
Yeah, the level, you had some bomb trouble pretty early on. But yeah, did manage to come back and, obviously you're pretty probably one of the more experienced 100% players in the entire game. So, yeah, well, it was a bit of a struggle early on, but you definitely recovered and came up with a pretty good time.
I mean, I'm very pleased with the 38-32 or whatever my SRL time was. The fact that I had to do the level 4 twice. I did have a good amount of rupee luck in hundo, not in any percent, unfortunately. I had to go double hundo, but I mean, going into this matchup, I was very rusty. I hadn't been able to practice as much as I really wanted to because of work and stuff, and it feels really good at least to be able to put up solid runs, even if they weren't perfect. They are, there was no glaring mistakes that I made that I kind of look back and say, oh, I would have done this different or that different. I mean, they were just little things. And I mean, that's Z1, I mean, that happens.
Yeah, exactly. When the bombs don't want to come, you can't make them. Unless
exactly.
You force.
And you talked about recovery. Like, obviously you had to double dip level 4, but even in the double dip, it was still a great recovery, going back, clearing it as quick as possible. You didn't save it for last. You found a way to kind of put it back into the route. So that was definitely good recovery on what could have been, for a runner like me or a lot of people, that could have been like the end of the race. So definitely good recovery there.
As we see Tetra getting close to the end, and I don't want to take too much of her shine at the end of her run, but yeah, I mean, if you're racing this game, you definitely want to try to think of everything that can happen. There's so much that can happen. You're never going to have the answer for every situation, but you have to remember, okay, if I whistled the normal dungeon, I haven't beaten that one yet, or whatever. We'll touch more on that in a second. I'll let you guys call the end of her Ganon fight.
Yeah.
Tetra gets the double grayscale.
Ganon, yeah. And then she's going to deal with her Ganon here. And she gets the stun lock.
The swagger ring, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been doing a lot of swag towards the end of the run. It was a lot of fun to watch.
GGs.
Everyone get out your GGs for Tetraly, who finishes with a 43.42, improves her race PB by 20 seconds. So everyone get out your GGs.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
pretty sure she heard us talking trash about the wand earlier, so she cleared a few rooms with that for us too. Was pretty fun.
Yeah, she took out the reverse C in 7 with the wand, which of course meant there was fire all over the place. Let's see if we can get her in for an interview.
Yeah, one thing I was kind of at a loss for was in the any percent race when I up A'd and I took out the Gibdos and they got me. And I was thinking, okay, well, I could press on with one heart, or I could just up A. And I just said the heck with it and up A'd again and redid that room. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but those kind of situations kind of hard to plan for. GG's Tetra.
GG.
Very fun run, Tetra. GG.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty good run, at least by my standards. So I can't really fault myself for the way I played tonight.
You had pretty clean runs in both races. Nothing really went wrong.
Yeah, and I'm really happy about particularly the way my 100% race went, since I'm going to be playing it tomorrow as part of the NLSS marathon for Retro Gaming Live. So just want to give that a quick plug. It's at about 3:30 Eastern, I think. But yeah, all in all, I'm very happy about the way it went. I mean, I knew going in that JSR is in a completely different league than I am, and unless he had a run that was particularly bad by his standards, I didn't really have a chance, which I'm glad you had good runs tonight, JSR. So yeah, it just wasn't in the cards for me, but I played my best, and that's really all I can do.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, I'm at a similar level to Tetraly, and I would take those race times, both of those races. I would take those race times any night. You probably would have beaten me in both races.
I mean, outstanding times for a race, honestly. Like, don't sell yourself short. Those are really good runs, and it's been a real pleasure seeing you and a lot of the runners in the tournament and how much you guys have improved. And just, it's so cool to see people running different categories and folks that are running like swordless. I would have not personally. I wouldn't even have touched swordless. And Tetra, I want to say thank you for the race. You are a great opponent. I can't wait for your run tomorrow, and thank you very much for a great tournament.
Yeah, no, thank you so much too. Good game. And yeah, no, I am taking pride in the race times I had. I think both of them were actually PBs for race times, actually, compared to my qualifying races. So definitely can't complain with that.
Yeah, you did PB on both of them, and so yeah, it's definitely you should definitely be proud of the way you ran those races. And actually, it's interesting because you were ahead in 100% for a little while because JSR got into some bomb trouble in level 3 and 4. So that was a lot of fun to call.
Yeah, all in all, I think it went pretty well, and I definitely want to give you a huge shout out for helping commentate. I guess Bobino is with you in the commentator's booth, so thank you to him, and particular thanks to Garion for restreaming. I know we've been having trouble getting some restreams for the races, so want to give a huge shout out to you and Garion and everyone else who's restreamed for the tournament.
Yeah, Garion did a bang-up job with the restream. He was ready like 10 minutes early, which was wonderful. And yeah, special thanks to Bobino, who actually jumped in at the last minute because Fred found himself unavailable. So that was super helpful. I didn't want to do the whole race alone, so it was great to have you as a co-commentator.
No problem at all. It was a lot of fun to call. I was going to be watching it anyway, so it doesn't make sense to have you all by yourself when I have a microphone and I have the stream.
Yeah, major shouts out to you guys. Thank you so much for the commentary. Also behind the scenes, Garion. Everybody, thank you all for a great tournament. Not just us tonight, but everybody involved. It's been going a lot smoother than I was. I'm a stress fiend, so I always stress out about the little details. So it's good to see everybody enjoying it, and I hope everyone who's participated just had a good time. And going forward, I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Big thanks to JSR for basically running this this tournament. I know he's got some fellow admins who are helping out, but he's really been doing a great job of making sure that every race gets restreamed and commentated, and really making it look like a professional tournament. So yeah, big thanks to you for that.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I couldn't do it without them. The admin team is my pillar of strength. They keep me sane, and they do so much, and they don't get enough credit. And they definitely are just as much a part of this as I am.
So JSR next week you'll be facing Redbird Grad. Everybody get hyped for that one.
Well, I did just apply for my bird hunting license, so we may be going bird hunting next week. In all seriousness, though, Redbird, good friend of mine, and same deal. Seeing him improve over the last year or two, going for sub 30, it's been insanely fun to watch. And we've never raced, and I look very much forward to this. He's as good as anybody left in this tournament, and I am really excited for the challenge.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun to watch. Any last thoughts from either the runners or Babino?
Just GG's, Tetra. Thank you again for a good race, and thanks everyone for the hard work behind the scenes. And yeah, I'll catch you all later.
Yeah, good game.
GG.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for an entertaining race, guys. It was a lot of fun, and definitely look forward to other races and look forward to Tetra's runs.
Yeah, and I had mentioned before, but everybody should check out Tetraly's randomizer because it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot different from Fred's randomizer, which is pretty widely played. So it'd be fun to see if that could pick up some steam. Speaking of randomizer, now that we're wrapping up, we're going to head over to Adirondack Rick, who is doing a randomizer race. So yeah, GG's to both runners. Thanks a lot to my co-commentator Almighty Babino, to Garion for the excellent race stream, for JSR, Loud Goat, the rest of the crew for putting this